is going to be, oops, first of all, I forgot to tell you that the milk that is for this recipe is not a good old buttermilk or full cream milk. We're going to be using 2% milk, and that is because there are a lot of cream-based ingredients in this cake, and we don't want a situation whereby it gets too heavy or too dense with the result. So I always break down the fat content in my milk by using the 2% milk, and this is a milk that is not very accessible in every location, so you have to know how to get the substitute. And the substitute here is by simply taking on your 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk or full cream milk, as the case may be. You know, you do the first one. I have an empty cup to do that here. Just pour it in, or rather just pour it into the 1 cup, because you're just trying to make sure that you don't exceed the 1 cup mark. So the first one goes into the 1 cup, and then the second one goes into the 1 cup as well, and then just simply fill up with water up until the mark. Alright, so there you have your 2% milk ready. As you can see from the video, it is already lighter in texture, and it is also not as thick as the initial texture it was. So we'll set that aside. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'll put this back into the stand mixer, and then I'll beat this for about 30 seconds to just get that incorporated. Next thing I'm going to be adding after this is to be adding the eggs, 2 eggs per batter of this recipe. After adding the eggs, I would beat a little more and then add the flavors and then the milk, and then just go along with me. So you beat this on high speed, because this is the kick-starting process of the mixing time, so you have to go on high speed. So just for a few seconds and we're good. After beating about 30 seconds, you reduce the mixer speed to medium, as you see me do using the regulator in the mixer, and then you go in with your eggs 1 at a time, but not like with a considerable spacing, but just make sure that one goes in and then the other goes right after, just like this. Put it on medium speed, just as seen here. And then the next thing you're going to be getting in is going to be the vanilla flavor. This is 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavor. This is the same tablespoon I used to achieve the 2% milk, so this is just 1 tablespoon of it, and it goes right into the mix as well. Oops. So after that, we're going to go in with the milk. The 2% milk is going in now. Just a bit before, because I have to go over it. So all at once. So once this is done, just allow it to beat for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then you go in with all other ingredients. If you have watched me up until this point, drop chocolate cake in the comment box. Okay, so while this is creaming, let me remind you that for every cake you bake, if you don't have your pan well greased like this, you are almost going to end up in a disaster. Trust me, because there isn't any much reason why you should go through the stress of baking of the cake and then it doesn't come out of the pan. So don't forget, let me just give you a little tip. Oil the pan and dust it. If you are not using, this is for chocolate cake, and that's why it is being dusted with cocoa powder. Not everyone do this, but me, I'm personally doing this because the cocoa powder is going to enhance the flavor of the cake and going to give it a darker appeal when it is ready, unlike you using the flour to dust the pan, and then when it is ready, it has this white patches that I personally don't like. Okay, so that is why I go with the cocoa powder every time I have to bake chocolate cake. Every other flavor, vanilla, red velvet, you dust your pan with the all-purpose flour to get the same result. So now we'll go back into the video now. This is all okay now. So we'll turn this off and open it. Okay, so at this point, we're going to be turning the mixer speed to low, because to incorporate all the dry ingredients, you don't need it to splash and you don't need it to overmix. So I'm going to go with the lowest speed. But bear in mind that it's going to go in 3 additions. 3 additions because you have to get the proper mixing technique so that you don't undermix or overmix. So 3 is just the right quantity of portions. And when you're portioning this, it's not like you have to measure it. Just make sure that it goes in 3 times so you know how to eyeball it by yourself. Now, this is the last thing that goes into it. This is one game changer in the chocolate cake recipe. It is called sour cream. Now, if you don't have access to sour cream, as I know that it is not very accessible everywhere, you can just simply get a cup of mayonnaise. Yes, mayonnaise, any good brand is okay, and then just go ahead to add up 1 tablespoon of white vinegar into it. Do this ahead of time, so when you mix that, you instantly have your your sour cream ready. This is going to go in last after I add all of the dry ingredients. I'm not going to be beating it in, I'm going to be folding it in because it's a cream and I really don't want to tamper with, you know, the structure of the cream as it is. This automatically gets rid of any bitter aftertaste that any chocolate cake ever gets. This right here is one secret that you don't want to lose out on. So we're going to go ahead with adding the dry ingredients now in 3 additions like I said earlier. So this is going to be the first addition. Now, like I said, in no particular order, I have the first addition, and then, yeah. So you go from low speed to make sure that it's all well blended before you increase the speed a little bit more. So this is going to be the final addition. So we're just going to wait for this to get well blended in about 50 seconds, and then I'll turn it off, bring it out, and then mix in the sour cream into the mix, and we're going to be ready to pour it into the pan. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. So it has a consistency that isn't too watery or too thick. It holds up really nicely, and by the time you add the sour cream into it, it's going to get a little bit thicker. So now I'm just going to add this. It doesn't have to be in any quantity of additions. You can go once, as long as everything gets into it. So you can either use your spatula to mix this in or use a wire whisk, but as long as it gets all well blended in, this is what it looks like. So the sour cream is going to lighten the color of the cake batter, but that doesn't mean that it's going to come off with this color when it's baked up in the oven, because there is a proven fact that when the cake gets into the heat, the actual color darkens because of the heat